All right, let's pause it. All right, everyone, welcome. Welcome to another webinar presented to you by Tenet Trade Group and our special guest, Benzinga Pro. So this webinar, people always ask me, hey, Rip, how do you find the trades? What do you do in the pre-market? How did you know this will go up? You see my recaps, you see my trades, and you keep asking me those questions. I try to answer them, but I wanted to do this webinar for a long time. And finally, benzinga Pro, the best tool which I have been using since I started trading over the years. People, I'm surprised a lot of people still do not know about so many features they have, but we're going to go through that. We're going to talk about that. We're going to cover that as well. Before, let me first introduce who we have today. We have Ryan, a veteran trader from Benzinga, and we have James. Thank you guys for taking time and joining in our webinar today. Appreciate that, coming in and sharing your knowledge and showing the power of the tool.
Yeah, thanks for your invite. I really appreciate coming up with a plan and the entire morning routine. So this is right in my wheelhouse. Can't wait to get it going.
I appreciate it. All right. So before we start, the way, if you have been to my other webinars, so we're just going to take a look what we're going to discuss, because some of you are already experienced traders, some of you are completely new. So everybody is looking something different out of this webinar. So as always, I'm going to create a context why the preparation is important. Of course, we're going to talk more about the pre-market today preparation, but any preparation, weekend preparation, end of the day preparation. Why is it important? Why is a daily routine important? Then how do we build that plan? What is our mindset, right? Just a little talk here, and then we'll go through deep dive there. We'll deep dive through our pre-market planning, how we build our game plan every day, and then we will jump more into what news we are looking for. How do we filter the scans? What we trade the plan. What are our scanners for the large caps, for the low floats? What are the technical criteria? We'll talk a little. Today's not a Ripster cloud technical webinar, so I'm not going to talk too much about that. Today focus is finding the opportunities and a little bit talk about how to trade those opportunities and the repetition, because the stock market, which is human psychology, reacts in a certain way to a certain news. Of course we have a news, but most of the times you see a certain repetition in how human mind and the stock market psychology reacts to that news. So we will cover that different repetition. We will see live examples. I will show the trade live examples, and then we will deep dive into Benzinga Pro. Ryan will go through the tool. Amazing tool. There's some amazing features that I don't really need anything else, the way they have built it, and we'll go through their high probability scannings, their special tools which can help you find the market opportunities. Ryan will go through it. We'll talk about a little bit how you can use the Benzinga Pro, other tools provided by intraday, or maybe you are a swing trader, maybe you want to sit on the weekend and go through all the news and find those opportunities as a swing trader or investor, not just a day trader, right? So we'll go through that step by step. We will ask you for the questions. We'll stop after going through a few slides, and then you can ask your questions, and we will go from there. We do have 1 hour 15 minutes. If you know me, I do tend to go overboard sometimes, going deep into some topics, but we'll try to keep it in time. And okay. So first, why the preparation and routine is important. Bear with me. I know you're not here for a theory, but it is important, because the thing is, the most times a trader comes to me, hey Rip, I did not get the trade. I chased this long trade, crowd strike. I bought it here. The question at first that did you prepare in the pre-market? The most of the times the traders did not prepare in the pre-market, right? So their risk management is gone. If you have no preparation, your risk management is gone. So you need to prepare for your risk management, your emotional control. Because when you prepare in the pre-market, which we will discuss in different scenarios, you know how the stock can react to a particular kind of news. You know what you're going to do and what will trigger that you're going to do something. So your emotional control will be important, right? It doesn't take too much time. People tell you we don't have time. You don't need too much time. You can ask the traders, I make my plan live in the pre-market. My team is working 1 hour before, but I come online half an hour before. I do it everything live, so you don't really need too much time. And in the market, it's you have to give some work, and the tools like benzinga pro just bring everything together for you to make you more conviction, you have your more confidence in yourself, right? You don't want to ask somebody, hey, why is this moving, why is that moving? You decide, okay? You decide why, what is why is something moving. Like, let's see here, today was people were talking about Baba. Oh, Baba, why is Baba running? Okay, why is Baba running? Do you know why is Baba running? Because China is saying, yes, Baba has earnings and all that, but Baba is running because China is making their own chip. And if China is making on chip, what that's a huge news. So when I know that kind of news, I know I'm not going to stop on Baba. I'm not going to stop out. This is a huge news. So just to give you an example, if you are not prepared in the pre-market, you don't even know that Baba has a news. Yes, then of course you're going to take your 10% gain on your lot of options, and you're going to say, oh, it went 100%, because you have no clue. So if you want to be clueless, you want to prepare. Okay, consistency, discipline, record keeping, which I will show you here. I have, for every news, which we will go through our trade examples, I have thousands of recaps, how every news reacts to that. So that is important. Risk management, emotional control, consistency, record keeping, discipline, that is important. You need to build a routine as a day trader, investor, or as a swing trader. Finding opportunities in the market, planning the trade or investment, executing those opportunities, managing risk with those opportunities, finding a repeatable pattern in those opportunities. Pay special attention to this line: finding a repeatable pattern in those opportunities. Whenever there's a notes offering, not regular offering, notes offering, you see the stock ticks. Whenever there's a buyout, the company who's buying something, a company is a $20 billion market cap company, but it goes buys another company for 3 billion, that company usually dumps, and that's my opportunity to make money on the short side. So just giving you an example, finding a repeatable pattern in these opportunities, setting the goal, long-term goals. So this is um, um, once you do this, you're prepared, you set your goals, and you go from there. Day traders have daily routines, swing traders have weekly, daily, weekly routine, investors have a weekly and monthly routine, right? Tools like benzinga pro provide all-in-one solution for traders and investors to prepare for the trading day. Okay, so one more thing, and then we'll go to stuff, right? Mental preparedness comes first. Wake up early, ensure you have 7 hours sleep. Yeah, if you can, take a shower, have a coffee, be mentally fresh. I always say, when I see people coming in my community and they are late, and they say, "Oh, Rip, I just came in and you said this is a long, I made money." I'm not happy about it, because you rub your eyes, you wake up, and you're just trying to trade what somebody else on Twitter is tweeting and trying, because that's not going to stay with you. That's not a consistency. That's not a consistency. There will not be no consistent. One day you're going to do something and you're going to lose because you don't have a conviction. So mental preparedness is important. Don't wake up, rub your eyes, be prepared. Use these tools to prepare. If you do not feel well, do not trade. If you're not feeling well, if you're sick, I still remember the seven-figure loss I had when I had a second short of COVID, and I should not have traded that day. So that's something I tell other traders: you don't have to trade every day. All right. Some traders do meditate. You do whatever you want, but be fresh. Every morning is the first day of rest of your trading career. Forget yesterday. Prepare for today. Be ready for today. So that you are not nervous. Your heart is not beeping or running at 100 miles an hour at the open. Be calm and be ready. Watch your position sizing, plan the trade, trade the plan. Remind yourself every morning, you will not be reckless. You will preserve your capital. If you remind yourself every morning, you will do much better, because you will not try to chase money, but you will try to be a consistent trader. Okay, recall the reason why you're doing it. You are doing it for your long-term lifetime consistency in stock market, not just this one trade, not just this one day. All right, so just wanted to talk about set a context, because if you come to me, I'm not the one who will hyperbole you. I'm not the one that will say, okay, we'll give you a lollipop. We will give you the tools. We'll teach you about the tools, but we will also give a hard love that you have to work for it. There is no shortcut, right? All right, that being said, Okay, so now we will deep dive. So any questions till here? Everything is clear from the pre-market mental preparedness. It might sound boring, but trust me, if you really want success, that's important. So I just wanted to little bit talk about that. So if that is done, so the next step, okay, no questions. Okay, good. So the next step, now I'm going to quickly go through few of the things because I want Ryan to talk. I'm going to go through the few things that we do, that my team we do in the pre-market. We prepare using benzinga Pro, and I'm going to quickly go through few slides here, and then I'm going to show you some trade examples, and then I will hand it over to Ryan to walk us through and how he does things. Okay, so first of all, your everything you trade, be you either you're a day trader, either you're a swing trader, investor, everything, there's a setup. What is a setup? Right? There's those in those who follow my teachings. There is a four pillars in your trading: system, setup, risk, and goals. Okay, so risk and goals we're not going to talk about on this webinar. I've talked about it enough. System, we're not going to talk too much about it. System is how you trade. Setups, now that is the pillar which is what you trade, right? If a trader comes to me and he says, hey Rip, I've been losing in this 10 trades, I ask simple question: what is your setup? What is your repeatable setup? And he does not, or he or she does not have an answer. What were your last 10 setups? And then he's no answer. So that there is a problem. You don't know your setups. So setups is, you find these setups with your planning, your pre-market planning, tools like benzinga Pro, right? So you go, every setup is different, right? So what we do is, like, if you see here, let's take a look at 2 days planning. Let's take a look here. Yeah. So now this is yesterday. So we create this plan. We split everything. Okay, what are we splitting into? News plays. What is a news? Any kind of news, huge news, big news, that can fundamentally change a stock. With experience and with what we are going to discuss today, you will know what newses make a difference. Then we have earning plays. Earning season is the best time to grow your account in the stock market. Then we have index stocks. What is index stocks? They move with the indexes, right? Those stocks will be dependent on S&P, QQQ, IWM, right? So they will be dependent on that. So we put them in a different bracket. Then we have upgrades, downgrades. Then we create our IPO list. We have our IPO. Uh, what are the recent IPOs? What is the IPO today? So those provide good trading opportunities. Then we have low floats. So there are different buckets and different baskets, right? Market index plays, earning plays, breaking news plays, upgrade, downgrade plays, day two earnings plays, which had a news yesterday. So you have to separate them out. So we have this. So I have over like we have over thousands of our planning sheets, recorded from last 2 years, because just to keep record of how we traded, what we are trading, so that we know what news, how that news is impacting us or doing what. Okay, this is opening slowly here. But anyways, so you make a plan on that. So what we do in the pre-market, what I do, I will go through quickly, and then Ryan will come and he will talk about it. The first thing you want to do is, when you wake up, you want to analyze what are the indexes doing, right? What is SPY doing? What's QQQ doing? So you're going to check that. Something like, let's take a look here. Morning updates. So Benzinga provides you a pretty good picture, that what economic data is coming today, what are the big company events coming today, what analysts have the top analyst news this morning, right? What are the earning plays, top downgrade. So you get a high level picture of the market. So we get the high level picture of the market. Is the market gapping down? Is the market gapping up? What are the big Mag 7 doing? What is Apple doing? What is Microsoft doing? Nvidia, AMD, Meta. You want to see what 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 these names are doing. Is there any significant political or geopolitical news today? Did Trump say something? Right? What is the economic calendar for today? Is Powell going to speak today? Are there the Fed speakers coming today? You need to know that. I usually tweet out a lot of those things as well. Weekend calendar as well. You need to know that. We make a summary of all this. So we usually make a summary. Let's see if I can show you that as well. 1 second here. Let's see. So we make a summary of those. Let's see 1 second. I want to show you that if you follow our other accounts. Hold on, it's important, so I want to show you that. So it's a pre-market summary. When Ryan comes on, he will show you how we do it through Benzinga. But we do it, we create these, we use Benzinga, and we create a market overview, corporate news, any other bonds news, key economic data. It doesn't take too much. It just takes a quick, but you need to know. Many times I see emotional traders coming in, they don't know there's a macro data coming at 10 a.m. And then like I was along, and then suddenly this scam market news came and it dumped on me. I lost money. So that's that. Now that you know you were not prepared. You didn't know, right? What's happening today? We always have it open in front of us. What's going to happen? So you want to know all this. You want to know what VIX is doing. Sometimes you want to see what yields or bonds are doing. Just a quick overview of the market. It gives me a sense how the day is looking, right? Let me see if I can show you a chart quickly. So if I'm looking at SPY QQQ, I know how I'm starting my day. I'm starting my day gap down, starting my gap down. Now, why I'm starting a gap down, right? So, I want to look at, my indices, like what are the stocks doing, which stocks is doing what's the news on SPY, what's the news on QQQ, what's the news on Apple. So I want to look at my hot list. Let's say I have a mag 7 list that I always look at, which tells me, so this is Benzinga, by the way. When I click, so I have a different layouts, right? We'll talk about more about that. I can see that what all the mag 7, I can see that in the pre-market they are down. So I have to be careful. I don't want to buy the dips right away. I need to know what's going on here. So there is some kind of news that's coming there. So you just need to analyze in the pre-market. That's your first job when you wake up. That's what you need to do. Then we'll take the questions. Let me finish these few slides when we'll talk all your questions. Then you want to identify the actionable news, right? Or check the news sources. Is there any sector news? Is the China news, Bitcoin news, cybersecurity news? Pay attention to the news which impacts a sector, because sometimes we find a trading opportunities, which I will show you some examples. If I go here, let me show you, if I can show you the sector news. Let's take a look here. So if I go to the sector news, let's take a look at this one. All right. So yeah, BMNR. So what happened to BMNR? Ethereum was up, right? If you are waking up at 9:30, you don't know Ethereum is up. You will not be able to long BMNR because you don't know that. You want to look at BMNR when it's trading at $70, right? But I know, because I can create my watch list there in Benzinga just for Ethereum stocks. All I need to know is wake up and just look at what sector is up and what sector is down, right? So I need to know that. There was a news on a solar here. Let me see if I can find that one. Okay, let's see. Let's take a little bit to open. While it opens, we go back. So yeah, so we want to look at the sector news. Then we also want to look at CPI, PPI, any job reports that are already discussed that we want to take a look at here. So 1 second, let's see if that, hold on here. Yeah, here you go, solar. So US finalizes tariffs on South Asian solar imports. What does that mean? That means it's good for US solar companies, right? So that's the sector news. So what I want to do, I want to be long on First Solar. And what did we do? We longed First Solar versus this morning gap up 130. We ran it all the $10 profits, done for the day by 10 a.m. If I was just waking up at 9:30 and I had no clue that solar has a news, yeah, then I will stay average trader. I will miss the opportunities, and then I will blame someone, you know, that hey, this guy didn't tell me. So we don't want to do that, right? So just to give you an example of that, yeah, blame Kramer, yeah. So we want to see other news, any mergers, acquisitions, product launches, partnerships. We want to see that. Then, of course, we talk about upgrades and downgrades, analysts, upgrades and downgrades. We focus on the tier ones: JP Morgan, Morgan Stanley, Bank of America, Citibank, HSBC, UBS. Because when we focus on analyst upgrades and downgrades, you have to read it carefully. That is it just reiteration of what they said previously, or it's a new upgrade, then you will find those good setups that you're looking for, right? So let's see here. Let's look at some examples here. Hold on here. What is this one? All right. Need to fix this example. Let's take a look here. Yeah. So for example, coin was raised 239 by Goldman Sachs. For me, it's important news because Goldman Sachs, the tier one, raised it, right? So I made it red, right? I've highlighted it that we made it red. What did we do? We took a long, and look at where it ran from. Of course, we'll talk about the technical setups later, but if I didn't know this, I would have no confidence to hold my long, my shares. I would not be making 300% gains there, right? Then if I don't know that, of course, we do manage our risk. We will, if sometimes it won't work, right? It's not that, but most of the times, if you analyze it right, that's why we have our technical system. Our technical system is telling us it's an upgrade, but it's also our history EMA clouds. It's breaking, so we long it. Now, if it was dumping under our technical system, I would not touch it, even though it's an upgrade. But I know that every time Goldman Sachs says something, I need to focus on that. So, anyways, so those are the upgrades, downgrades you have to focus on. Then you have to focus on these are some keywords you have to focus on: FD announcements, buyback announcements, partnership news, CNBC commentary, CEO is coming on CNBC, short reports, fraud reports, notes offering, right? I was talking about this notes offering. Usually the stocks dump on that notes offering. Keywords on FDA, cancer, billions of dollars, deal, some game changing news on nuclear stocks, quantum stocks, biotech, drone stocks, right? So, all those kind of things you have to watch. Like, for example, this CoreWeave did the notes offering and 175th a million share, dollar millions, and it was a short. CoreWeave was always already bearish, and on top of it, you do a notes offering. Now, if you do not know that, then you will probably be buying the dips. We are not buying the dips because we know there's a notes offering and it's already bearish, so we short it. Right. So those kind of things you want to do, like FDA approvals. What is this? This was encouraging data in the ongoing dose for whatever medication or whatever they're making. And VIR, we found that news, we longed it, we use our technical system, took it from 1150 all the way to 14, done for the day, beautiful trade, right? So again, why I'm putting it here, how did I know it? I didn't just wake up at 9:30 and see we running. I would never be like a consistent trader if I'm trying to do that. I want to find those opportunities, and not every news is actionable. As you build experience, this is why we are doing this webinar. You need to go back, see how the news in the past has impacted it, right? Most important is the volume in the pre-market. High the volume, it tells us about the interest in the market or that news. So we'll talk more about that. There's a lot of examples here. Those in the community, we will share the PowerPoint later. Then you can go through all the examples of the various trades I have. We have here. I think we had this. This was what was this? Let's take a look. Okay, so this was S&P inclusion, Lulu, and you see high S&P inclusion ran all day. Another news, another different kind of news, S&P inclusion. Now, D-Dog also got their news. We know it. I know it. If last 10 times when this news hit, what happened? We long D-Dog. Good. Yes, sometimes it doesn't work. We take a loss, we move on. But I know that 80% of times, if my technical system and news align, I'm going to find that big winner, big opportunity, right? So trader tells, if you're a trader who tells me, oh, I don't know what to long, Rip, there are too many plays, right? Because that's your inexperience. But if you are experienced in the market, and if you follow what I teach, and if you follow and do your work, you would know that, okay, today I have to focus on this stock. Either it works, either it doesn't. I don't care. My focus is D-Dog because it's included in S&P. But sometimes you might not get it. Sometimes you will get, if I can have this TTD open, I will show you what TTD did, but there was a range on TTD as well. I will tell the team to fix these once you get it, so that maybe it's a little bigger picture here. What did Airbnb do? Yeah. Cool. Anyways, we will have those links fixed later. Once those in the community will get those recaps. So yeah, there are more trade recaps. Those are here on our trade recap page. You go there. Every setup will have a news. Right here's a news. Taiwan Semi price hike in chips. Morgan Stanley names Taiwan Semiconductor our top pick. Right. So it ran all day. So there's more links there for you to study. I don't want to take too much time on that because we need to go into. Now I showed you it's not just I'm showing you the news. Also showing you we act on the news. We prepare, we act. That's the reason of our success, of our community success. Those who learn from me, their success, because we do not do gut feeling. We prepare, we plan, and we act. So that being said, um, we were gonna cover rest of it. I will let Ryan will come over. He will show you how to find these opportunities, how to build this plan, and then we'll go through a few more scanners that I have built and step by step, and how you can find these opportunities as well and build a plan. So, any questions so far? Mic test.
You're good.
Good. Okay, no questions. Look like we are going good. All right. So, Ryan, you can have the screen, please, and then you can take the screen over, and let's see if, yeah, okay, there we go. So you should have it once you share it.
Yeah, there we go. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, really good stuff here, Ripster. First of all, I'm extremely proud to be here for morning preparation. You're 100% right on being prepared. You absolutely cannot roll out of bed and think that you're going to consistently make money. That's silly. I'm also really thrilled to see that get yourself physically and mentally prepared. I do push-ups before the market starts, and I'm up early. So really great to hear more people doing that. As far as doing this yourself, Benzinga Pro is going to have a lot of tools in here that's going to help you find the exact information that Ripster's putting together for you. You can do this on your own. So when you talk about, we don't want to give you a lollipop, instead we want to teach you how to do this, that's going to be way more effective for you going forward. So the first step here, the very first step when you wake up is our morning update. And this is going to have a lot of the core things that Ripster has already talked about. You're going to get a glance here at what the indices are doing. You're going to have your economic data laid out for you. And furthermore, the economic data is going to be weighted in terms of its importance. So the United States-based important economic prints are going to be listed at the top. Now, we're not just going to show you US prints. We're going to show you any prints that might affect some of the stocks that trade in our market, but the ones that have higher importance are going to be weighted at the top. We're actually doing some of that work for you. If we continue to scroll through this, we're going to tell you if there are any IPOs here. A lot of the times, a lot of the like PMI, I had no idea what Picard Medical was, but the morning report told me that there's an IPO here. I put it on a watch list. Maybe there will be a trade there on IPO day, depending on what the stock price does.
Yeah, yeah, I just want to interrupt you there. That's how
Sure.
we found the stocks like FIG, the recent IPO that ran, and that BLSH bullish, and
Yep.
even CoreWeave, Circle, those IPOs. People don't know that, but if you do your everyday practice, you know that, and you what this IPO is coming, and you can be ready. There's opportunities there.
Absolutely. And the same thing happens with conferences. A lot of the time, some of the stocks that we're trading or the stocks that gap up in the morning or the stocks that get new coverage sometimes also have an accompanying conference or some type of event that news might be broken at during that event. And we're going to list those for you here as well as the accompanying stocks. I'm going to give you analyst initiations. These buckets are, of course, scrollable. Same with downgrades, upgrades. And then we're also going to tell you earnings. We're going to also sort these, right? So the ones that report in the morning are going to be listed at the top, and the ones that report after the close are going to be listed at the bottom. Now, this screen is completely compiled for you. It is real time, and all you have to do is open it. Opening it is as simple as clicking on the profile icon in the upper right corner and then selecting morning update. That's it. That's all you have to do. So when we talk about preparing in the morning and getting ready to attack the day and being ready for when the market opens, because the market doesn't wait for anybody. It doesn't wait for Rip, me, or anybody else. It's going to open at the same time. It's your job to be prepared. And these tools are going to help you do that. Furthermore, once you have this open, if you find this valuable, just click the gear cog at the top and turn on initial load. Now you won't even have to do that first step. It will simply automatically load every time that you open Pro. So once we get a good idea of what's going on, take down any notes that appeal here. Maybe there's a new analyst initiation that's in here that you might want to trade. Maybe a firm here, right? They reported earnings, overweight rating here with JP Morgan, a $94 price target. You can always mouse over the stock and see what the actual price is as well. Once you make the notes that you're trying to make here or the things that you're interested in, now we're going to do something else. The next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to go through news. Now, Rip, he had showed you really briefly a screenshot of how he goes through some of these different stocks and finds some of the news. I've actually created a workspace here with 3 news feeds that does a lot of this work for me. The first one here is big news. So this taller news feed that's on the right half of the screen, all I've done is I've filtered it for SPY. If you filter a news feed for SPY, you're going to get all of the important news, the big news that's going to move the market. For example, we had core PCE this morning. This was arguably the big data print that folks were waiting for here today. We listed that it was coming on the morning update that we just took a look at, but I also have a news feed here that's going to deliver in real time that actual data print. And in this case, because we know that these data prints are important, it's actually automatically highlighted in red. It is worth noting that you can apply custom highlighting, but some of these we've done for you. This is also going to include statements made by the administration. It will include even truths made by the president. So you don't have to have a Truth Social account. If something big was being said there, our news desk team is likely going to aggregate that for you. And if you have a news feed that's filtered for this, you're going to be able to access that in real time. One of the other news feeds I have right here is filtered for exclusive news. Sometimes Benzinga releases news before anyone else. In that case, if you're in our ecosystem, you're going to have first dibs at that. So I keep a news feed to filter for that, and I added a couple of other things on here, so you're seeing some upgrades. But more importantly than that, the newsfeed in the upper left corner, this is one of our proprietary news categories. We call it a Why Is It Moving? And I just mentioned our team of news deskers. Some people don't know. We actually literally have human beings where all they do is go through news. They look at stocks that are moving, they look at the news flow, and they try to figure out why the stock is moving. And if they can reasonably do that, they will print a what's called a WIM, or a Why Is It Moving, WIIM. So what I've done here is I basically used Pro to filter for all of the different categories of news and only show me WIMs in this example. The end result here is I have a chronological list of reasons why stocks are moving. So if you miss the day, if you're a swing trader, if you were out with your family, if you had work during the day, you have a 9 to 5 and you can't necessarily be in front of the market, no problem. When you come home, of course, you can access Benzinga Pro outside of market hours. You can access it anytime, including weekends. But right here, I have a list of reasons why stocks are moving. I can review this list at my leisure. And furthermore, if you are one of those people that wake up a little late and you get to the desk and stuff has already happened, this might be a really good newsfeed for you to consult, because our team has done some of the work for you, figured out why some of these stocks are moving, and printed a 1 or 2 sentence synopsis on why that stock is moving. Now, you can't necessarily use this as an alert on what to trade, but this is going to help you understand what's going on. Maybe one of these stocks is moving on something that affects another stock. We've seen that a lot in some of the Bitcoin examples. Rip did a really good job of showing you BMNR. There are a lot of those stocks that have done have released PRs about adding some type of crypto to the treasury, and as a result, it goes wild on that particular day. So this
it also helps you find hard sectors, right? If you see something is
absolutely.
moving, let's say a weed was moving last few days, MSOS, and you see that it says the stocks are moving higher because Senate is going to announce something in a few days. So that's your swing opportunity right there. Just like stablecoin was running, Circle was running, we traded it
Yep.
long because Senate was going to do the genius bill, and it ran for many days. Now, if you know the first day it ran, why it's running, you can maybe make a plan to trade it as a swing trade. So a very good tool. Why is it running? I like it.
Yeah, it is really good. And that's a really good point about sectors there. I'm actually expecting more news in the cannabis sector early next week when we get back, as a little kind of a hint for your group here. Moving on here, after I review some of the news, the next step for me is to figure out what stocks are gapping. So I actually have a tool and a workspace built for that. The other thing to know here is that this combination of tools is actually a default. So if you're not the most computer inclined person, don't worry about that. We actually have a bunch of recommended workspaces to get you started so that you don't have to spend a lot of time building it. The one I'm about to show you is literally this preset called What's Moving. Okay, so let me go back to that real quick. What I have here is I have a very, very lightweight scanner. And what I mean by lightweight, it's still real time. In this case, it updates in real time, it updates once per minute. But this will allow me to view gainers, losers, or gainers and losers together at one click of the mouse. I can look in the pre-market, the regular, or the after-hour session. Again, one click of the mouse. I can break it down by period or look at the entire session. Again, with just one click of the mouse. And then furthermore, I can apply any other filters that I want. So in my case, this is what I actually use in the morning. In my case, I don't trade literal penny stocks. For whatever reason, I cannot figure out why these things move and how they move. And I always end up, well, not always, but most of the time, I end up losing money on penny stocks. So I said to myself, Ryan, just don't trade that anymore. So I filtered that out. Minimum price of $1. I don't care what's going on in Pennyland. I want to see what's going on in stocks that have a price more than $1. Um, Also, I don't want to trade stuff that's a liquid. So I'm not really concerned if a stock has moved up 20% on 5,000 shares of volume because it's extremely illiquid. That's no good for me. That's not good data. I'm not going to be able to do anything with that. So I'm going to put a minimum volume filter here of 600,000 shares, and I can adjust this as needed, but I just want to make sure that stocks have some type of volume for me to trade it.
Yeah.
Next here, go
Yeah.
ahead.
So for example, if you want to do just the large caps, then you move the market cap to, let's say, billion, let's, or more than billion or whatever, or you move the price to $5 there, right? Ryan, can you also show the news, another tool there, and you show how you link it? Can you open the toolbar for the news under the charts? Just
Yeah,
want to show
absolutely. I
yeah.
actually have that built here. One thing, I'm using a details tool here, so
Okay.
news is actually a different tab. But what Rip is asking about is you can actually set this up in any custom way that you want. So
Right.
here's an example of the full-blown scanner. It's very similar to Movers, but it just has more options. And what we've done is we've utilized the custom linking features. For any of you that have used Thinkorswim or some of the other brokers out there, guess what? You already know how to use this feature because it's basically the same. So what we've done here is we've allowed you to create custom links. So Rip, to your example here, I've got a chart of Apple and I have the news right beneath it. So I don't even need to click the news tab in this case.
Yeah.
All I just see it right here at a glance. If
And
I want
just
to take a look
let's
at a different
click,
one.
let's click anything which has moved big. Let's move click ADSK. Yeah, so we were short gap and the top one. It's just the
There
top
you go.
ticker.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
So we were gap and crap in the community. We're gapping and crapping it because it was an earning play. So you see that you click, you see the news, you see the chart, everything on one page, and then you can make a decision what you want to do. And one thing I want to point out, in the future iterations, benzinga is working on another charting platform to, hopefully we will have Ripster clouds here as well, so you can make your decisions on Ripster clouds just on benzinga. So hopefully we get that in future. But what I want to point out is that ADSK, you see all day news. Sometimes what happens is we are trading a stock and suddenly we are long or short it. Suddenly, middle of the day, 10 a.m., somebody comes and upgrades it and it swipes up, right? So that will pop out here, right? You see that that will pop out here. So
Yeah.
then you can, yeah.
So all these tools work in real time. So the newsfeed, now that we're at Friday after hours, we should not expect to see new rows populated in the newsfeed. But if this was a regular market session, you would absolutely expect to see that here. And and these will update automatically. There's nothing you need to do. It will simply do it for you. The other thing that I want to mention here real quick, and Rip, I think you're going to talk about this a little bit too. You had talked about preparing by looking at stocks in the indices. So over here, I basically have a general scanner that's looking for gaps. That's fine. But in this index scanner workspace that I've built, I'm actually utilizing some more features in Benzinga Pro that we've included to make this easier. So I'm going to actually delete this right here. What you're looking at now, here's the scanner tool. I literally have no filters applied right now. I've got nothing filtered here. It's showing me all 8,000 plus stocks in the stock market. But what happens if I want to see what's going on with the SPY stocks? Here's how I would do that. I would click on the scanner search bar at the very top here, and then I would click holdings of, and then click SPY. Immediately, the scanner has been filtered for stocks within the SPY. Those are the only stocks that are in the results list. From here, I can filter this. So if I want to see what stocks are gapping up, what SPY stocks are gapping up by 2%, or whatever other metric you want, we can apply those filters here, but I don't even need to do that. Now that I'm only looking at SPY stocks, I have it sorted in order of its percent change. I also have another value here called percent relative volume. So I can actually sort by this column here, see which stock has traded more of its average volume today, and maybe start at the top of the list. Again, trying to save myself time. Here's Dell, for example. Dell reported earnings yesterday, took another leg down here out of the pre-market, and then it was basically flat the rest of the day, but still traded 400% its average volume today.
Alta
And
was a good one. We were short on Alta today,
I'm
right
not
there.
surprised. And I'm
Yeah,
also not surprised to see it at the top of this list at all.
yeah.
And if I want to review any of the news here, I can absolutely do that. If I want to go back and see what the actual earnings was, I can do that. If I even wanted to read the press release, we even include the actual press release that the company sends out in the
Beautiful.
news platform.
And also if you're an investor, also if you're in a swing trader, right? You are like a bull on Alta. You are a perma bull on Alta. Like you are always, this is what you want. You want to pop it up, go back, see what every this is the earnings, what is the each analyst saying, is something else coming up on there, you read it up, read everything, sit on a Sunday, then you make a plan. Okay, this is what analysts are
Mhm.
saying, this is how the revenues are growing, this is the headwinds, these are the tailwinds. Okay, maybe I wait on investing in Alta, I don't want to buy Alta yet. You look at the technicals and then you decide, right? Because everything is in front of you, you're not going to miss anything. And there's a different sources. If you want to listen, if Ryan can go to the sources tab, we just have filtered with the quality news. You can anything and everything out there about Alta will pop here. If there's a being a blog written about Alta, it will pop here. So my point is, it's you can do your in-depth analysis just at one screen.
That's a really good point. And let me expand on that a little bit because you might see Benzinga Wire and think, well, what does that mean? Benzinga Wire, that's that team of news deskers that I talked about earlier. They aggregate news from all of the different sources: Reuters, Dow Jones Newswire, Wall Street Journal, et cetera, et cetera. In fact, that Wall Street Journal article about BABA that you already referenced today, you can actually see in the BABA chart when it responded to that. That was live in the news feed. But to your point about these other news sources here, Benzinga Wire, these are going to be done by our news desk team during the session. Press releases are done via an API, so you're getting it at light speed. If you're trying to study on the weekend, or if you're more of an investor or more of a swing trader, check on some of these other sources when you have some time and read through that. If you don't have time during the regular session, if you just need to focus on the important news, then pare back some of these sources so that you're only focusing on the news that's really important to you. One more thing I wanted to mention here, real quick. You can, these different categories of news that we aggregate here, you can actually highlight them. So in the news feed, so for example, let me actually just show this real quick. Here's an example. This piece of news is tagged with equities, news, movers in general. So if I go back here, I just picked a story at random that probably wasn't a great one. But if I go back here and I find that corresponding category, I can actually change the color of the news post so that when it comes through the news feed, it will be highlighted and it should be able to catch your eye even quicker than simply reading it. So again, a lot of features hidden within Pro here that it's designed to help you maximize this. Now, really quickly, you talked a little bit about option flow. I want to mention something here real fast. I want to talk about two things real quick in the calendar tool. You focused a lot on analyst ratings. Here is an
Oh,
example
like
of the
this. I love
Here's an
this.
example of our calendar tool that gives you every single analyst rating. Now, you might be looking at this list and being like, bro, there's no way I can go through this in the morning. And you'd be right. But there is a bunch of things that you can do from here. So you talked about different firms that were top tier
Yeah,
firms for you.
yeah.
Okay, so what you can do is you can actually come in here, filter for an analyst firm.
Hmm.
Let's go ahead and type in Goldman here. So here, I just started typing Goldman. Now I have Goldman Sachs. I'm only seeing the Goldman Sachs updates here. We can
Love it.
start with that. Start with JP Morgan. Start with some of these other firms that you really
And
like.
this can I in this calendar can I add a chart?
Yeah, great question. So let's do that real quick. So here we go. We're looking at the Goldman Sachs list, and you think to yourself, boy, I'd like to see this chart on Ulta. Just click
Hmm.
on it one time. It
Okay.
opens up the details tool, and if I click on chart, here it is.
So there's if I want to fast browse it, can we do the same thing, linkage on the top?
Sure, sure.
Oh
And the
yeah,
fact
yeah, I
of
see it.
using details, if you're using this is hardwired. So if you're using details, you don't even have to do the linking. You
Okay,
can simply click on some of these other tickers and it will remember what you're focused on in details and then
got it.
display that new ticker.
Okay, I want to do something here. Can you open a separate news tab under it?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, so do that, and now link it to the all three to the same. Okay. So now
There
what
we
I'm
go.
trying to do is let's click on Jazz. Just click whichever stock. That's fine, right? We clicked on Jazz, and I want to see. Oh, sorry, you're linking it.
Yeah, let me go ahead and actually finish off the link. So this is how easy it is, right? We're just going to assign this to link two. I
Yeah.
don't want to filter the calendar, so I'm going to say no. We're going to filter the details tool,
Oh, I see.
link two. We're going to say yes, and then the news feed, link
Got it.
two,
Okay.
and yes. And now
Okay.
we're all set. What would you like me
Yeah.
to do?
The reason I like it that let's say Jazz or something else, even other example, because I can see that okay, Goldman is raising it. And if I go back, maybe on the news, I will see, okay, JP Morgan raised it last week. Or,
Yep.
it's at on Apple. I think it didn't click on
Oh,
Jazz.
you know what? I'm sorry. You're right. There's Jazz. My
Yeah.
apologies.
Okay. Okay. You see that? So what we are looking at, taking the example of jazz, that okay, the jazz chart has been on uptrend, and Needham upgraded it to a two price target. Truist did 205. Then now Goldman Sachs. Maybe there is something. Right? Maybe is this as a swing trader or investor, maybe there is some opportunity for me on jazz and I want to deep dive into it. Right? So, and then yes, I'm sitting on a weekend and okay, this stock is really good. I'm gonna put it on my watch list, make some levels. So okay, even if you're day trading, this is good. This is very good tool, very impressive. One stop shop to find opportunities. Love it. Thank
Let
you.
me show you. Let me show you another trick here, real quick. I saw someone earlier. I'm just going to move this out of the way so we can see more. Somebody earlier said that there were, I think, five upgrades or six upgrades or something like that on a firm. Let me show you a
Yeah,
little.
yeah, we do that. Our team does it when we make a pre-market plan. My team, any stock we are trading in our pre-market plan, we also point out this is what we are going to do, and then we say that this was raised by three, four firms. Just to added conviction, see what what is happening. Actually, yesterday we were long on a bunch of stuff and some stuff was everything good, earnings good, revenues good, chart all time high, every analyst raising it. So yes, go ahead please.
So in the calendar, if I sort by symbol, it's going to aggregate all of the symbols next to each other. We'll take a look at this. Autodesk and Affirm had a bunch of analyst ratings today. It didn't just have one; it had a bunch of them. So if you see one analyst rating and you think to yourself, well, boy, I wonder if multiple firms upgraded the
Hmm.
same stock because that might be valuable. Well, just click the column header here, and we're going to aggregate all of this for you. AMBA, same deal.
Hmm.
Had a whole bunch of
and
analyst
and
ratings here
here
today.
here's the thing. So here's the thing. Okay, so ADSK gapped up a lot, and even after the overview, you're gonna say, "Hey, Rip, everybody's saying outperform, but ADSK gap and crapped." You can show the chart if you want, but that's why we have our system. Maybe it's a profit taking. Maybe ADSK will us a give opportunity later as a long investor. Of course, we took a short opportunity. We were actually short when it was breaking our level from that 316 to 307, 308. But if maybe there's some opportunity on a day two, day three, maybe on the long side, maybe it comes to 300, fills the gap, and we can do a gap bounce swing, right? So all these kind of things. Of course, it could have very well gone gap and go, but remember, market was heavy today, indexes were heavy, we were short on QQQ. Maybe that's why Autodesk couldn't do anything even after those upgrades, because market was heavy. And if it was going up, then we would have long with Ripster clouds, right? So see how systematic things are. So this is the beauty of the tool.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point. One more thing here, real quick, before I turn it back to you, Rip. If I go to my main workspace, so I'm doing all of my preparation. We're getting close to the morning bell. I'm going to click on my main workspace, and this workspace utilizes utilizes the scanner tool. And if you guys want my actual scan, here you go. You can go ahead and screen grab this. I'd be happy to share this. I actually think it's in one of the slides in the presentation. Here are the actual values that I use. I'm basically using an intraday relative volume measurement to find stocks that are trading up. I don't care if they're down on the day. I care if they start to trade up because I'm a long bias trader and I'm generally going to go after the long trade first. So here's an example of the exact sorry, I was going back to the news. Here's an example of the exact values that I use here. This is the scanner here. has a drop down menu that allows you to set the refresh rate. I have it set to real time. So my scanner updates on market ticks. And as you can see, the scanner tool is working here in the after hours. The tools, the platform itself works anytime that you log in. If nothing's happening in the market, maybe you're not seeing a lot of lights flashing. But if you sign on in the pre market, the after hours, the weekends, it doesn't matter. The tool is going to be working for you. The other thing that I've incorporated here is I've used another calendar, but this calendar is set to use unusual option activity. So I can take a look at option flow and then I can go ahead and filter this. So if I only want to see option flow that has contracts that are greater than, let's say, 1,000, okay, here's how I'm going to watch my big option flow here today. And this is going to update in real time.
So
That
this is
might tell me.
okay. So this is your new scanner.
This right here, the bottom left corner. This is the
Got it.
calendar tool set to unusual options. It might
Got
be a
it.
little bit better to visualize if I go back to my actual
Mm,
calendar tab. Let me show you this here.
yeah.
Let me show you this here because I kind of did that quickly. The calendar tool itself has a drop down at the top. So we started here in our example looking at analyst ratings. But if I
Hmm.
expand this drop down, we have a bunch of data: analyst ratings, conference calls, dividends, earnings, economics, FDA, IPOs. One of them, the last one in the list here,
Wha-
is unusual option
Yeah.
activity.
Can you quickly click on FDA, then we come back to the options.
Absolutely.
Interesting. See, that's what I'm interested in. Phase three. Love it.
Okay, then you know what we should do? We should actually go to filter and do drug status and actually type in phase three. How about that, Rip? Let's do that.
Yeah, I'm gonna in my
Bang, here we
biotech
go.
investing webinar, I'm gonna use this.
There you go. Perfect.
Yeah, look, Sava likes to run, right? So,
Absolutely. EYPT, too, by the way. We recommended this a while ago. This was a monster for us last year.
okay, Target 2005 late, Sava 2025 mid. Okay, thank you. I didn't know that. Thanks for
See,
letting me know.
this is what I do. I show people things about Pro that they don't know. And the reality is that there's so much in here. The other thing, really quickly, that I want to mention, because you focused on being prepared, Rip,
Yeah,
you do not have to know how to use every single little option to benefit from this tool. I cannot
right,
stress that enough. I cannot
right,
stress that enough. You
right.
can don't try to learn everything on day one. You're just going to bog yourself down. Add tools to your toolbox as you need them. Refine your process so that it's consistent and repeatable. This tool will help you do that.
Yeah, see, the thing is, you have to focus on your strength, right? Just like I say, you have to focus on what your strength is. Don't try to do everything. Try to do something good. Do not do 20 things little little. Do few
Absolutely.
things, but build your strength on that. So build your layouts for your weekend routine. It's all about routine, your end
Mhm.
of the day routine. Build your layouts for that. Build your pre-market layout. Build any layout you want so you can find those opportunities like much of that we have discussed here. We discussed pre-market planning, swing planning, finding those opportunities, analyst upgrades, downgrades. You're watching what historical news and everything. So a lot of things you can do there, right? FDA. I just found out I can
Yep.
research on weekend. If I'm a biotech investor or trader, I can focus on those. So yeah. So that's good. So anything else you're gonna cover, or should we, Brian or Ryan?
Here's the thing. We are on Friday. I could keep us here till midnight
No, I
covering
will.
stuff,
What I want to do
but
is
we're not going to do that.
I want to go back to the presentation
Yeah,
quickly,
let's do it.
and then at the end I will hand it over to you again. So let me do that. Uh, all right. So okay. So we already covered those. What was that example? Hold on. Yeah. Yeah. So, anyways, so you can see those examples, those traders in the community, you'll get that. For example, robotaxi event, right? Robotaxi event complete. I'm just showing you the examples of the news. And some people ask me, how do you are on top of the news? We are. We have built those so many tools, and that's how. So look at those opportunities. Robotaxi event completed. Many people didn't even consider it as a news. I did. I knew robotics event is done, something's going to happen. And look at that, bullish bias all day long. You can find thousands of these recaps if I go through. The reason I'm showing you that there is, when you prepare, you get rewarded. Okay, so you got to prepare. There's no shortcut. Let's quickly go through a few things else. So, the few scanners I have built, you can build as well if you want. It's completely customizable. You can do whatever you want. So I'm going to show you a few scanners and a few watch lists. and then we give it back to Ryan, and then I'm going to talk a little bit about a few more things. I
Can
think,
I jump in real quick? Just
yeah,
one sec. There was
go
a
ahead.
really good question here about can you share or download workspaces? That is actually in the future plans. You cannot do that right now, but I really want to stress that a lot of these are actually presets. They're there as recommended workspaces, and you can simply edit them as needed.
Yep. Okay. So, so just like Ryan already showed, I'm quickly going through. I have my team. We have some pre-market scans. Like this is a pre-market scan up. I can change it however I want. When if I click it, everything changes. I can read the news quickly. I can look at the chart and I can decide what I want to do, right? So AMBA, I know that if it holds over 85, I would be interested to long it, but it didn't hold 85, and it's going to probably fill the gap on Monday, right? So similarly, I have the pre-market down scan. What is gapping down, right? So if I want to look at Marvel, and then I can see the Marvel chart, and it can tell me that what's the news on Marvel. Somebody's neutral, somebody's saying it's outperform. UBS lowers the target. Morgan Stanley is equal weight, and Marvel was a short all day, right? So those kind of things in the pre-market, I want to see that, and that's how we put it in our game plan. We take that. Now we have some hot lists. Very important. We have a hot list. We know my team member. We have created a hot list of the stocks we want to watch every day, each day, every day. It's our hottie list. I want to, I want to watch hymns every day. I want to see if there is any news on any of those drone stocks, all that. What I want to show quickly here is that there's the watch list, and you can maybe I'll let Ryan do it when he goes there. So you can literally create your own watch list. Like I have a Mag 7, you can create your drone watch list, your quantum watch list, and you can quickly go. If you see, few days ago, the whole quantum was nuclear was running, right? Then quantum was running. One day space stocks was running. Rocket Lab is running. You often see me tweeting, space is going up, air taxis are going up. How do I know that? We put it in our plan. If there's a news on air taxi, then other air taxi stocks will run. If there's a news on Rocket Lab, then maybe ASTS will run too. So those kind of hot lists we build here. Don't have time to go through everything, but that's how we do it. Then of course, he already showed you we do that market browsing, everything. It's fully customizable, you can play with it, but that's how you do it. Then we have we can build up on our low floors, which you can build your low floor scanners. Let's go back to the there. So those are the scans. I have put the screenshots in the PowerPoint, and you can build that, or you build your own, whatever you want. Then we have low floor scanner. Similarly, the beauty of it, you can browse there. Actionable news, just extension of what other kind of actionable news is. There's rumors, there's speculations, buyout news already covered. Few things to note when we are selecting the stocks and the gappers. How is the daily chart looking compared to the news? If the daily chart is super bearish, that everybody in the world is bagged, I'm a little careful about a bullish news, right? So that's why I want to look at the chart. That's why I like that Benzinga shows me the daily chart. If the daily chart is super bullish and consolidation, again, I don't want to, this is not my technical webinar, so I will not go too much into that, but you want to know a stock which is at all-time high, consolidation, not straight up, because a straight up chart can have profit taking, so you also have to be careful. So you have to be a judgment. So daily chart compared to the news, is a daily chart bullish, is it bearish, is it breaking down? I don't really care if an all-time low has a good news. I don't really care. Yes, UNH had a good news. Warren Buffett bought it. Okay, we get it. But that too chop, but not everything. So you have to grade your setups. Are you going to do gap and go long? Are you going to do gap and crap? Are you going to do gap and down short, gap down reversal? Again, this goes to my other webinars that we have that you can watch in the community, which explain everything. Then review the news feed, which stock is all over. Also, there will be sometimes cult stocks. There's a cult stock running right now, open. The reason I call it a cult, because retail is all over it, right? And those cult stocks sometimes run, but you just have to be your own. You have to be your responsible for what you do on those cult stocks. We traded open, but we were fast in and out too. We don't, just because the whole world is saying it's going to the moon, and we don't do that. We analyze the volume, we find those opportunities, we trade those opportunities. If you want to swing that, there's somebody in my community, he asked me about open into $1.20. At that time I gave him $2 target, we broke $2. Now we were looking at 5. As long as it doesn't break 5, it's not going anywhere, right? So things like that. So you have to find those cult stocks. Benzinga will help you find those cult stocks early. You know, those retail stocks which are social media is going crazy about, which you have to be careful. What is the average volume of the stock versus if a stock usually trades 700,000 shares, I usually want to see minimum volume of 750,000 shares. And if it's already traded first 10 minutes, the stock has traded like most of the daily volume, I'm interested in that. What is the short interest of the company? Ryan, Benzinga provides the good short interest information as well, right?
Yes, absolutely. Short interest per the filings, updated when the filings are released, and it's for every
Okay.
stock.
Yeah, because I know in the past, few years ago, there's some other your competitor companies were giving short interest, which and but good to know. So yeah, okay, I'm gonna
I'll
if
show
it's
that when I get the screen back too.
okay. So yeah, if you want to see that short interest is important. Maybe we can go. You can show a little bit on the financials and that. Okay, which stock has the biggest gap and the biggest gap down? Stocks with no volume with the news should be put further down the list. Something which has no volume, illiquid, a stock which barely trades 400,000 shares. It's not for everyone. Sometimes they move, but they should move it. You lower so when I'm making, when I'm making my list, on a day 2, day 3 list, I want to focus where the volume is. I highlight anything which I see is more important. We were short on Nvidia today. Why? DeepSeek said they are going to use Hawaii chips. Baba is making its own chips. So I'm interested in Nvidia. So, but if anything, sometimes unknown names run, I delete them. I delete them from my watch list, or I don't highlight it too much because I am not interested in that. And one thing traders always ask me, hey Rip, there's too much. Okay, but here that's why I'm teaching you, so you know where to focus, right? I know where to focus. So I want the traders in my community, those amazing traders, they are in a stock even before I mention it because they know which is a top focus. Iron was our top focus, didn't work on the long side, that's fine, right? Yesterday we had PSTG, Bill, like everything, amazing day, all the top focus because with experience and with your time, screen time, you will know where to focus on. There's no easy answer. Oh, just focus on this one, right? Because every trader trades a different setup. Some traders like to trade short. Some traders like to like day to setup. Some traders trade low float. Some traders like to trade the stocks which are illiquid but big range. So you need to find where your strength is and focus on those stocks. Low float stocks selection, not going to go too much into it. You have to check dilution, risk of offering. I will let Ryan speak about the low floats. Cash position, what is their cash position? And on the low floats, you have to do a little bit more due diligence. William in our community, our lead team member, who trades low floats, he diligently uses Benzinga Pro, finds those opportunities. Create your watch lists, robotics, drones, horde themes, create them in the Benzinga Pro. Review them every day, every evening. Do that. At end of the day, recap, journal, look at the how a stock, even if you have nothing to do, see how the stock responded to a certain kind of news, right? Because you also want to see how the stock responded the last time the same news happened, right? Browse the charts in the evening. This is you can do. You don't want to do, but this is not related to Benzinga. But you can do these all things in Benzinga, your evening routine, right? So weekend routine, Ryan already covered. Build these scanners, go through them, find opportunities. You can, yeah. So every Saturday, Sunday, review SPY, QQQ, high growth, hot list. Every night, review unusual option flow, charts break. Oh yes, charts breaking 52-week highs, 1 year high. Yes, that's important. Ryan, when I give you the screen, please show that as well. 52-week high scanner and as well. All right, so I'm going to talk quickly here, then I'm going to give it to Ryan, and we'll come back here. So some tech, again, not a technical, it's not a technical webinar, but what I'm looking for. Sometimes trader tells me, Rip, this long didn't work, this worked. The first of all, I'm looking for clean levels. What do I mean by clean levels? There's some examples that RGV has put here. So we'll look at here. If yes, so clean levels. This is what I call clean level. Up, down, up, resistance becomes support, resistance becomes support, up, down, resistance, breakout, up, down. These are clean levels. Where did this affirm bounce from? So when I'm putting these levels, and you can do all this in Benzinga too. If you don't have trading view, that's fine. When I'm making my levels and making my game plan, I tell the traders what to do. This is what I look for. Clean levels, right? So that you can't just blindly go in. You just have to look. So there are thousands of examples we put in there. Let's see if I can see more cleaner examples. Look at PLTR. What a beauty, right? Look at, you don't get a cleaner range. I know that I will be not along on PLTR if it breaks under it. I have the news added to S&P, right? I have my levels. That's what I want to do, right? So that's what I want to do. Clean levels. So once you get the presentation, there's hundreds of examples there of our trades that we done in the community. You can go through them. Historical reference points. How did the stock react to the same news last time? Or some other stock to the same news last time, right? You want to use MTF clouds. Again, we are going to little technical levels. We don't have time for that. Watch my technical webinars that we have in the community. They will give you everything you need, right? So like MTFs, this was breaking under the 50 MTFs, right? Gave a nice little flush from 170 69, not a lot, but decent. So let's look here. Reddit dipped to the MTF and bounced, right? So I want to see the pre-market. If something in the pre-market, like Square, I know I'm not going to be bullish because it's under 1 hour MTF cloud. I'm not going to be bullish under 20 daily. I'm not going to be bullish if it breaks this. You see, magnet. Today we had a lot of these setups, right? So let's see if I can, when we have the news, okay, let's see if we can show you quickly here. Okay, all right. So like this one, right? So we had Tesla today. So Tesla could not push over the 1 hour clouds. I had it on my game plan. We had the Tesla on the game plan. Let's see here. Where is it? Where is it? Right? So Tesla Friday play introduces Model Y. Watch the flow. Trade versus 1 MTF. Long over that. Long over that. No, didn't hold, no longs. Turn bearish, short it. So you have to plan these things. You find the news, your next job is to do your technical planning. And that's how you do it. I'm giving you the tools. I'm giving you the most probable system you will find anywhere. And I'm showing you not just BS hindsight, I'm showing you real stuff that we do every day, right? So a few other things, psychological levels, right? Price levels. You have to see the price levels. Whenever there's a news, if the stock is trading close to 50 bucks, 10 bucks, 100 bucks, you have to pay attention. You have to pay attention. So hopefully these ones open. Let's see here. Yeah. PLTR was the resistance was 100, broke out of there, ran. I mean, I had an example today. Let's see if I can show you that one. Nvidia was 100 long breakout, strong relative volume in pre-market. So those are some things you want to look at. Where is it? Okay, hold on. Okay, so let me show you. So for example, this was Alta. We had a pre-market planning and it gapped down, but I want to show you a firm. Okay, pre-market plan. Okay, so a firm beat on revenues, year by year increase. JP Morgan, you see how quickly we put everything here. This is because Benzinga Pro provides us those things. We put it there. I said in the pre-market, room 200. Well, that room went pretty fast in the first candle. If you were ready, you got it. But then look here, 100. It's not the first time. It's not the last time. 100 will give you another opportunity to trade sometime again. So you just have to be ready, right? So there, I have put those examples, a lot of examples. PLNT, Planet Fitness, shorted versus 100. Pre-market planning, there was a news. We knew there's a news. We planned for it, right? We look at those things. So these are the things you can look at it, guys. These are I'm providing you the tool. Benzinga is providing you the tools to find these opportunities. I'm giving you the rules to trade these opportunities. So let's get back to Ryan, and he will show you some other nice things which is so valuable that with Benzinga Pro that you can use. And then we will come back and we'll talk a few. We will also give free membership to 2 lucky members, and then we will close it. So Ryan, you can take over, please.
Okay,
Any
perfect.
questions? Let me see. Any questions for me? No questions. Okay.
That means we're doing a good job. That means we're explaining things clearly.
Yeah, I mean, we're doing
Okay.
good.
All right. I made a list here of several things that you folks wanted me to see here. So I'm
Okay,
basically,
1 second. Your
yep,
screen, you're sharing your screen?
yes.
Okay,
Can you
let
guys
me.
see Affirm, the chart
Yeah,
here,
yeah,
daily
yeah,
chart?
yeah.
Okay. Okay, so I made a list of several of the things that you wanted to see. So I'm just going to run through those. If there's anything else that you'd like to see, please make a note and let me know. I'd be happy to do that. First of all, you were asking about short interest. Right here, I have the details tool. I know we've focused a lot on the actual chart itself, but the details tool, don't sleep on it because it's got a ton of information in there. Number one, when you open up a new details tool, it's going to start on the overview tab, and you'll notice that some of your short interest is actually available right here on this tab in the key data section. So short float, the raw short number, and the short percent of float. But furthermore, we actually have a tab in Pro here, and I can actually try and make this a little bit bigger if it's easier to see. We have a tab in here called short interest. And if I click on that, it will show you all of the different short interest, when it was effective, when we actually got that. It will also tell you what the days to cover is. It will give you the float, it will give you the raw short interest, and it will automatically calculate the percent of float that is shorted here. So you can view these on any stock that you want. You can go through them. As long as we have data for it, it'll be displayed here and it will be updated automatically for you. But the other thing that you can do, let's say you want to find stocks that have high short interest. Let's do it together. Let's go ahead and click a scanner and a details tool. That's it, just to start here. Perfect. It's going to do that for me. Great. We're going to set this to the chart. Now, we're going to look for short interest. So I'm going to go ahead and just start typing in short. Here we go. We're going to add short percent of float, and then I'm also going to add days to cover. These are the two short interest metrics that I use. Rip, maybe you have your own. The beauty of Pro, you'll be able to set whatever those are. We're going to do a minimum 20% short interest. Okay, and then we're going to do a minimum 5 days to cover. Days to cover is how many days it would take to cover all of the open shorts based on the average volume. So if a company releases an extremely important piece of news, let's go back to the BABA piece of news that we talked about this morning, and BABA starts to run and shorts get nervous. Well, sometimes the stocks that have a ton of short interest, it might take a while. There better be people willing to sell. Otherwise, those people running to cover those shorts, they might be in trouble and they might be covering a lot higher. So let's scan for 20% float of short, or excuse me, 20% of the short float, and then also 5 days to cover. Here you go. Now we've whittled down our list of 9,000 stocks or whatever it was to 158, and we're displaying the top 100 results. The other thing here is that when you scan, when you add any of these filters to scan on, it actually adds the data column to the table here. So I can view exactly what those numbers are. I can scan for these. Do we want to add float to this? Because I know there's a lot of low float traders out there. Let's go ahead and add share float to this. And then we'll do a maximum float of, let's say, 20M. I'm not going to waste my time typing in a bunch of zeros. I'm just going to type in M. Pro's smart enough to know what that is. Now we have a short list of 44 stocks that are high short interest and technically low float. In this case, float under 20 million shares. Okay, so you can scan for these now, just as we were talking about earlier in some of our other examples. We can click through this list. We can start to make our preparation if we're doing this on the weekend, by the way. So if you want to be ready for next week and you want to scan for high short interest, low float stocks, this is your way to do that. You can take a look at all of these charts. You can figure out which chart makes a lot of sense for you, which chart is at a support level, which chart may bounce. Let's also study and be really prepared and maybe go through the news. We can do that on this screen as well. Okay, so that should take care of the short interest. Rip, you had also
Thank
said,
you. Yeah.
yeah, no problem. You had also said, can you show financials? You talked about your team looking for dilution and all of that. Yeah, absolutely. In fact, that's a tab here in details, yet again, just like short interest. If we click on financials, it'll show you the balance sheet, the income statement, and the statement of cash flows. Jack in the Box here has $38 million on the balance sheet right now. If I take a look at the cash flow, they're cash flowing positive. Probably not going to need to dilute the shares
Yeah, I
unless
mean,
there's something going on.
Jack is a large cap, so
Yeah, well, okay, so give me
yeah.
a small cap one. Here, let's give, well, how about one of these
You
runners
you
from
know
today?
you go eat their burgers all the time, so they won't need cash, right? So
Here's one from today. All right. This is NUKK, Nucleus. This is what the stock did. This is what its state. Let's look inside. Here's what Nuke did today, right? Ripped in the pre-market, crapped out of the open, gave a great bounce, which a lot of people ended up destroying today, and then kind of just faded the rest of the day. You might think to yourself, is this pop going to hold? Does this company have cash? Well, let's take a look together. We'll click on the financials. They've got 1.52 million $1.52 million on the balance sheet as of the last quarterly report. If we click on the statement of cash flows, oh, look at that. They're cash flowing negative by 1.3 million. This company is going to need money somehow. All right. The other thing we can check, let's go calendar. Let's click on, where are you? Secondary offerings. Let's see if they actually have, okay, in this case, there is no shelf already filed or offering already filed, but you can check all of that information here as well. One other thing that you asked for, and of course, you can obviously scan for some of these financial, just like I scanned for short interest. I'm not going to waste your time and demonstrate that. You can use some of those filters there in the scanner as
No,
well.
it's that's beautiful. Yeah,
The
very
other thing
nice.
that you asked me is you said 52-week highs. So I want to show this is a tool we actually haven't even talked about yet. It's actually called the signals tool. And
Hmm.
what this is this will report in real time any of our signals. So let me go ahead and turn these price spikes off. And let's go to highs and let's turn on 52-week highs.
Hmm.
Okay, so now this will report anytime a new 52-week high is printed and will do so in real time. If you want to check and say, this IG, let's check for a stock. Let's see. I just want to type one
Yeah,
from
I mean,
here.
I'm only interested in like the top, like S&P 500 or
Okay, you know what?
Nasdaq.
Let's do this. That's thank you for that. Thank you for the direction. Let's turn 52-week high on, and then let's click on our search bar
Oh,
again.
watch list.
Then do
Okay.
holdings of SPY. Here are your 52-week highs in order for the SPY.
Oh,
How's that?
yeah. See, that's what I like.
That's what I
Anything
thought.
50, show me 50 year all-time highs.
All-time highs is actually not one of the scans. It's just for 52-week high, session high, and
Yeah, I
day
guess
high
sometimes
series.
52-week high we can deep dive and it will be
But you know
all-time.
what? Now
Sometimes
you're
all-time.
giving me an idea, Rip. Now you're giving me something to go back to my development team and say, hey, we need
Oh,
this
we did it.
new all-time high signal.
We
So
do
I'll
the
get that in the
biggest.
queue for you.
Because when you see all-time highs, you find the reason why is it going all-time highs. Remember, in a low rate interest environment, you buy high, sell higher. The amateurs think it's nobody's gonna buy, but look at the stocks which make all. Look at PLTR. How many times has it made all-time highs, right? So you have to watch those names. So I love that. So good. I like this. So guys, this is what you also need to review and use what stocks are making all 52-week highs. If you don't want all the clutter in the world, just filter by QQQ stocks,
Yep.
S&P stocks, or filter by your watch list. Ryan, there in the filters, there's a watch list you can create for your own hot list. Our hotties, we call it hotties. That's how we got. We've been trading these nuclears quantums like 400% ago. We've been on top of them because we follow the list, the hot themes.
I love that you call them hotties, by the way. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Couple of things here, real
Few
quick.
of our members got in trouble in home talking about this watch list.
Uh, real quick here, it's important. I love what you're doing about talking about watch lists because one of the things that you need to understand about Pro is that if you create these watch lists in Pro, they are actually used as active filters. Can you tell that I like watch lists a little bit?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you can create these things and then they become active filters and you can apply these on things like the news feed and all of that. But here's one of the other things you were just talking about. You make a watch list for drones and quantum and all of that. That's great. And I encourage everybody to make their own watch list without a doubt. But we can help with that too. If you click on the search bar and you click on verticals, here are some of these different categories. So you had said quantum. It's not displayed here, but let me go ahead and start typing quantum. Here's a vertical of quantum. So even without the watch list created, I can, with just a couple of clicks and
Hmm.
keystrokes, filter the newsfeed for those quantum stocks.
Wow, I
These are
like
lists
that.
that we maintain.
Oh,
Okay,
you can
so
search quant. Oh, nice. That's
absolutely
nice.
you can. And by the way, when you're creating some of these new workspaces, there's actually some of these presets here for you
Oh,
that will
wow.
help you with that.
Oh,
So
you want a
again,
fertilizer?
yeah,
Beer.
like I said, a lot of stuff in there. It's all kind of in flux.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
designed to help traders get to the information that you care
And
about.
you don't have want to do too much. We are showing
That's
you the
right.
tools you can use. You focus on what you want to use. There's a lot of value there. One request is they're asking for your development team is Ryan, you should get MOC data. Because
Yeah. Okay, so let me talk about that for a sec because actually, we tried this at one point, but we could not get reliable MOC data. Let's see, MOC. Let's see if we can actually try this with keyword filters, though. I don't know if we've done this for a
yeah,
while.
that's fine. There's
Imbalanced.
a question there. I'm not a big imbalance trader. We do have a lot of imbalance traders. Tape.
See, here you go. So you can see we actually had some of this data that we were aggregating, but our
Yeah.
source was not reliable.
It's
So
not
instead of,
reliable.
yeah.
Yes, most of them are not reliable. Something says something and something says something. But anyways, so anything else there? I know we have that. option option flow, no, option flow we
Yeah,
covered.
let me show you that. That was
Squawk.
the
You have
yeah
amazing
the
squawks,
two
right?
things that I haven't shown you here. We'll start with the squawk because it's just uber easy. If you click on the little squawk icon in the upper right corner, the equity squawk. This is Charlie. Some of you might have already done or already be familiar with this. This when you click play, this is a set it and forget it. You click play. It's not like a radio. It's not just
Mm.
constant talking. It's talking when there's news. And actually, we have a second squawk if you just want more, but that's an add-on. All Essential Pro subscriptions are going to come with this equity
Yeah,
squawk. So once you
yeah.
turn it on, it's on, and now it's not wasting any of your screen real estate. You can go do your other tasks. So let's do that, Rip. You had asked me about unusual options. Let me go back to the calendar tool here. We're going to select unusual option activity. So here you go. So here's the raw flow. Now I use the calendar tool because I can filter here. So
So the traders in the
mhm.
chat are asking, what is your lag compared to other scanners or other option flow scanners or other stock scanners? Your real time is like how much is the lag?
As far as I'm aware, our algorithm is detecting in real time and then printing it. If you want to, and I'll show you how this works. Let's actually dive into this a little bit.
Hmm.
If I click on the signals tool, which also has unusual option activity, you'll notice that these lists are the same because I've
And
applied
again,
no.
and again, I can filter out whatever watch list I want, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
you can apply watch list filters to the signals tool. That's correct. You'll notice right now that these lists are the same. TLT, SPY, TLT, TLT. It's the same over here
Yeah.
because what
Can,
you're looking at in the signals tool is
can
the
you do me a
raw
favor?
algorithm. Yeah.
It will be great for the viewers to see that. Filter by all the stocks in Magnificent Seven. If not, just filter QQQ.
Okay, let's do this. Let's do holdings of, let's do QQQ.
Yeah. And we can, the drones and all, we can add there, I guess. Okay, yeah.
Absolutely.
So I just
Absolutely.
want to see that repetitive option flow. This is also great for swing traders, I guess, right? Because
Yep.
it's easier. Okay, I
So
see.
here's the thing. So I want to get to this because you're asking me right now to do all of this filtering. So the signals tool is the raw feed of the option algorithm. And
Uh,
when they're not filtered, they're the same. But this is why the calendar tool is so awesome
okay.
because all of these different data prints are filterable. I can't do it in the signals tool, but like for example, if I only wanted to this size right here, this is how many contracts were in the unusual option trade. All right, so let's go into the filters menu. Let's filter for size that is greater than 999. So we want only unusual options trades that had 1,000 contracts in the sweep or more. And then the other thing we're going to do is we're going to add a volume over open interest ratio that is greater than 3 because
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't want big sweeps on something that's got a huge open interest
Right,
already.
right,
I want to
yeah.
see new trades. So here we go. Here's
Yeah.
your list.
Yeah, that's what I teach in my option webinars as well,
I figured.
which to think. So you are telling me that I don't really need any other option flow tool, my news tool, my scanner, and my option flow all in one here.
I'm a little bit biased. I'm going to tell you you don't need any tool other than
Okay.
Benzinga Pro.
So, and I know you said you guys promised this is usually extra, right? But for like today's webinar, like people can get it free or some discount on this.
Correct. The offer
Okay.
that we're giving to your viewers here today are going to
Okay.
include
No,
the
I appreciate
unusual
it.
option algorithm.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right. Appreciate it. So yeah. So let me go back to
Absolutely.
wrap up the things. I also have to pick up two winners here, and then I have to talk a few endpoints. And let me share my screen here. Okay. Share. Where is the screen? Hold on. Not this one. So 1 second. Okay, got it. All right. So thank you, Ryan, for covering that part as well. Now we covered all that. So guys, hopefully, so this was good. You can use their tool. Benzinga is giving us special offer, 60% off. They're also giving their own unusual option activity tool completely free. So make sure you use